Hello, children. I am here with another topic. This topic demands each one of us to conduct some activities on matter, observe, and compare both the matter before and after the activity. Here are some of the activities which needs to be performed. Tearing a paper into pieces, chopping any vegetable, crumpling a piece of paper, freezing water in ice tray, burn a piece of paper, breaking a chocolate bar, boiling an egg or potato, adding a piece of magnesium metal to copper sulfate solution. Since it is not possible to do this activity and we can't observe in the lab, I request you all to watch a video. Action of copper sulfate with magnesium metal. All the starred activities to be done in the presence of an elder, please. These activities needs to be performed to understand this topic. You can perform it by pausing the video, or at least you can watch some of the activities in your surrounding. I'm sure, as a good learner of science, you have conducted those activities and you have also compared the matter before and after the activities. Now, answer the following questions. Does the torn pieces of paper look the same as that of full sheet of paper? No, it doesn't look the same, isn't it? They are different. When a vegetable is chopped, the chopped piece is different from the whole vegetable, isn't it? But there is some change. Let's see what is that change. When a paper is crumpled, it is so different from the whole sheet. When paper is burnt, it changes into ashes, gives out light and heat. Similarly, when an egg is boiled, the proteins changes to some other molecules. That is, the watery like the albumin of the egg now looks so different when it is boiled. It looks white solid. There is some change undergone when the egg is boiled. Even when a piece of magnesium is added to blue copper sulfate solution, after some time we observe the blue color changes to white color. All the changes which you have performed and the changes in our surroundings can be broadly classified into two types of changes: physical change and chemical change. A change is with respect to the physical properties of the substance. Okay, whenever there is a change with respect to the physical properties of the substance, we call that change as a physical change. What are physical properties? The physical properties of a substance are those properties that can be either felt by the senses or measured with a suitable equipment. They are state, color, odor, solubility, melting point, boiling point, etc. State, color, odor, solubility can be felt by the senses, whereas the properties like melting point, boiling point can be very much measured with a suitable equipment. These will constitute the physical properties of a substance. Now, coming to the chemical change. A change in the chemical composition of a substance. Whenever matter undergoes a change, okay, there will be a change in the chemical composition of the substance. And this chemical composition of the substance can be changed when a substance is subjected to the action of heat, light, water, acids, or any other chemicals, there will be some change in the properties, and these are called as chemical properties. So how can we define what are chemical properties? Chemical properties of a substance are those that are observed on subjecting the substance to the action of heat, light, water, acids, or other chemicals. So by now you have guessed the name of the chapter: physical and chemical changes. In this chapter, we will know what are physical changes, examples of physical changes, and the characteristics of physical changes. We also know what are chemical changes, examples of chemical changes, characteristics of chemical changes, the energy changes associated when a physical change takes place and a chemical change takes place. Let us discuss the examples of physical change. Water changing to ice or water changing to vapor. We all know that water on freezing changes to ice, water on boiling changes to steam or water vapor. What did you see when water changes to ice? There is some change. Yeah, the change is only in the state of matter. Water was liquid, now it has converted to solid. Similarly, when water is boiled, it converts to water vapor. The gaseous form, it has changed to the gaseous state. Whereas the chemical composition of ice, water, and water vapor still remains the same. Now let us move on with another example, breaking a chocolate bar. When you break a chocolate bar, definitely there is a change in the size and the shape of the chocolate bar. Is there a change in the chemical composition of the substance? No. Move on with the next example, cutting a log of wood. Okay, when it is being cut, there is only change in size. You may say big piece of log or smaller pieces of log. Let us take up the next example. Think of mixing sugar in water. You all know sugar is C12H22O11 and water is H2O. These are the two substances. When they are mixed up, it results in sugar solution. The molecules of sugar and water, they do not react. They simply remain there. This is very much evident that this is a physical change. The sugar solution on evaporating, we can separate sugar and water. That is, we can get back sugar and water. After discussing the examples of physical changes, we are in a position now to define a physical change. The changes that occur in the physical properties of a substance without causing a change in its composition are called physical changes. I repeat, the changes that occur in the physical properties of a substance without causing a change in its composition are called physical changes. What are the characteristics of a physical change? A physical change is temporary and can be either reversible or irreversible. For example, water changing to ice is a reversible change, whereas breaking a chocolate bar is irreversible. But there was only change in the first example, change of state. In the second one, that is breaking a chocolate bar, we could see there's only change in size or shape. There was no change in its composition. Therefore, a physical change is temporary and can be either reversible or irreversible. The composition of a substance remain the same. That means there is no new substance is being formed during a physical change, and only physical properties like size, shape, state changes. Okay. It's time to complete the task. What is a physical change? List the characteristics of a physical change. Give 4 examples of a physical change from your daily life. Please complete these 3 tasks in your classwork. Now let us see some common physical changes involving change of state. Yeah, but I'm sure when you see this diagram, yeah, well-known diagram, yes, it represents interconversion of states of matter. Yeah, a solid changes to liquid on heating, a liquid changes to gas on further heating. This gas can be again on cooling, changes back to liquid, liquid on further cooling, it changes back to solid. And some of the changes also takes place in some substances. On heating, they directly change to gaseous state without undergoing the liquid state. And the same on reversing, that is on cooling, it revert back to solid. Yeah, this is very well known picture. Yeah, please take the task, children. Draw this picture, and I want you all to complete these questions related to this interconversion of states of matter. List the 6 different processes taking place in the above picture. 6 different processes. You have to list them, name them. Watch a video on sublimation of iodine, and the second chemical is ammonium chloride. And I want you all to express your observation through a diagram for this question. The next question is why condensation is a physical change. With a reason, you have to explain that condensation is a physical change. Far, we have discussed about physical changes. Now, let us discuss the examples of chemical changes. Have you ever seen a rusted piece of iron? A brown colored flaky substance which gets deposited on the surface of iron articles? Yeah, have you seen them? Okay. This is the iron nail, and this is the rusted nail, the brown colored substance. Yeah, this is formed when iron nail is exposed to moist air and oxygen, right? Oxygen of the air. It gets rusted. There is a change in the chemical composition. Okay, I want you to copy in your classwork. What is a rust? A rust is a hydrated iron oxide. Okay, now let me explain. Iron nail has the chemical composition of the iron nail is Fe, whereas the rusted nail or the rust, the chemical composition of the rust is Fe2O3, 5 molecules of water is associated with the iron oxide. So therefore, rust is a hydrated iron oxide. What is rusting? It is a slow oxidation of iron in the presence of moist air is called rusting. Okay, we can't just, the gates and the other articles are, many of the articles are made of iron, the iron metal. Can we prevent it from coming in contact with the moist air? Not possible. So what can be done? It can be prevented by, rusting of the articles can be prevented by painting, greasing, oiling, or galvanization. It's a very popular method. It's a simple one. I have a galvanized nail. Actually, this is the color of the iron metal. Okay, iron metal is gray. It is gray in color. To, then after it gets rusted, it forms a brown flaky substance. In order to avoid this rust formation, it is galvanized. The iron metal is galvanized with zinc. Zinc is corrosion resistant. So it is simply coated, the iron articles are coated with zinc, okay, so that it can be prevented. Otherwise, what happens when iron articles get rusted? It loses its strength, and which is not desirable. As I have mentioned earlier, burning of paper is also, it results in a change. Let's see how burning of paper is a chemical change. Not only paper, burning of any matter is an example of chemical change. How it is a chemical change? Let's see. When a paper is burnt, it releases smoke, carbon dioxide, along with heat and light is also released. And finally, it converts and forms ash. When a wood is burned, smoke is released, heat energy, light energy is also given out, carbon dioxide gas is also released, and the wood converts to charcoal. Completely, there is a change in the chemical composition of the substance, and which cannot be reverted back. Even in the case of rusting, the brown rust cannot be converted back to the iron metal. Okay, what is burning? I want you all to take down in your classwork, children. The act of subjecting something to fire in a supply of air is called burning. I want even you all to take down the note wherever I have given. In burning, combustible substance. Now, what is this? Combustible means the substances which catch fire, which easily burn. Right. In burning, combustible substances, they combine with oxygen present in the air to produce new substance called oxides. This, with the release of heat and light, this indicates that there is a change in the chemical composition of the substance. Before burning, it is one matter. After burning, it will result in its respective oxides. Okay? It is worth to watch a video on burning of magnesium ribbon. Okay, please watch a video on burning of magnesium ribbon and express your observations through a diagram. Curdling of milk is also a chemical change. There are many chemical changes taking place in our surroundings. Take the help of your mom and write down the steps involved in the process of curdling of milk. Let us discuss some more common examples of chemical changes. Respiration and digestion of food. In digestion process, or the digestion process involves conversion of complex molecules, that is the nutrients present in the food like carbohydrates, proteins, fats, gets converted to simpler molecules like sugars, amino acids, fatty acids, and glycerols in its absorbable form with the help of enzymes present in the stomach or the gastric juices released by the stomach walls. Even HCl is present in the lining of our stomach. This we have learnt it in our sixth class, how all these processes, the conversion of the complex molecules to simpler forms. We have learnt it. Even respiration is another chemical change. This also involves food combines with oxygen to produce energy, carbon dioxide, and water vapor. Completely a new substance has been formed, right? So these are the classic examples of a chemical change. Boiling of an egg is also an example of a chemical change. Now, after looking into the examples of a chemical change, we are now in a position to define it. What is a chemical change? The changes in which composition and chemical properties of a substances are changed. In all the examples, that is rusting of iron, burning of magnesium, boiling an egg, respiration, digestion, all these changes involved change in the chemical properties of a substance. So such changes are called as chemical changes. What are the characteristics of chemical changes? A new substance with new properties is formed. That is, the composition of the substance changes. For example, the rust, which is Fe2O3, that is hydrated iron oxide, is a new substance which is formed from the metal iron, which has different set of properties than that of iron metal. What is another characteristics of a chemical change? Changes are permanent and irreversible. In whatever manner you carry out, the changes cannot be revert back in a chemical change. The properties of a new substance are different from the original substance. Yeah. To know more about chemical changes, here are some common chemical changes which involves change of color, change of odor, and evolution of gas. Let us discuss one by one. Change of color. A fresh cut piece of an apple, when it is just left outside, okay, when it is left to air, after some time, you see this. A brown color will be formed on the exposed cut piece of an apple. Not only fruits, even vegetables. When fresh fruits and vegetables are cut and placed outside, the enzyme called polyphenol oxidase in the cells gets exposed to air and turns them brown. As this browning does not get reversed, therefore, this is an example of a chemical change involving change of color. Let's move on to the next, change of odor. The spoiled food smells with a very bad odor because of the bacteria or the fungi. They start feeding on the food and it converts into compounds of nitrogen and carbon dioxide. That's why the rotten or the spoiled food has bad odor. Okay, let's talk about this evolution of gas. When vinegar reacts with baking soda, which is a chemical change, example of a chemical change involving evolution of gas. When vinegar reacts with baking soda, sodium bicarbonate, carbon dioxide gas is released with a brisk effervescence. Effervescence, formation of bubbles. You can conduct this activity, okay? First, place some baking powder in a bottle, pour vinegar acid slowly, and cap the bottle with a balloon or small plastic cover. Yeah. What do we observe while doing this activity? Balloon gets inflated due to the evolution of carbon dioxide gas. It also gives a fizz sound. Now I want you to draw, take this as a task to be done in your classwork. Express photosynthesis as a chemical change properly with the formation of a new substances. In this process, some new substance is being formed. Clearly you mention that through a diagram. Express photosynthesis as a chemical change through a diagram. Please conduct these simple activities involving energy changes, and after you conduct, I want you all to make a note of your feelings as you do these activities. These are the two activities. The first one, apply acetone. Acetone is nothing but the nail polish remover. I hope you must be having at home. Where to be applied? On back of your palm. How do you feel it? Do you get a cooling effect or heating effect? Do the activity, record your feeling in your classwork. The other activity is take some detergent powder, okay, in the hand and add little quantity of water. How do you feel? Does it give you the cooling effect or there is a warming effect? How you felt while doing these activities? Record them in your classwork. There are some changes during which heat is absorbed. Such changes are called as endothermic change. Okay, there are some changes during which heat is absorbed. Such changes are called endothermic change. So how can you define endothermic change? Changes which involves the absorption of heat are called as endothermic change. And in some changes, heat is released, heat is given out. Such changes are called as exothermic change. So how do you define exothermic change? The change which involves release of heat are called exothermic change. Thank you, children.